Welcome to DVC Alumni, where every story inspires the next. The Alumni podcast where you get to hear the inspiring stories and transformation that DVC has had to offer its alumni. And now, on with the episode. All right. So, you ready?
Let's go.
Okay. And we are live here at DVC Alumni, where every story inspires the next. And we have our new backdrop. Thank you very much. I guess that was Tom or you or
John Paul too, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So it's the three of you guys. So it's like, yes.
Collaborative effort.
Because I was going to order a big blue thing and instead we have this. So hopefully this works out. So let's start with you introducing yourself. Tell us your name and rank and serial number and all that good stuff.
Yeah. So I'm Chris. I work at the DVC Foundation. I went to Salle. I came to DVC as a fresh out of senior year. I started summer semester, so I didn't take any breaks in education or gap years, gap semesters. I started fall semester. I got to know some professors. I came here. I'm interested in finance, investing. That's where I want to go as a career.
Mm-hmm.
I like all that sorts of stuff. That's where I started my club in, and we're here and we're in the present.
So. Slow down.
Right.
So, where'd you grow up at?
Well, I grew up in Bay Area my whole life.
Okay.
So I started in Walnut Creek, but I was born in Vacaville.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So,
by the way, I like riding my bicycle through the hills up there in Vacaville. It's very pretty.
I don't remember it because I was one. So, yeah, I haven't even been there since.
Okay.
So I was born there when I was one. And then we moved to Walnut Creek, my family and I, when I was like 1.5. So no recollection. We moved into a Walnut Creek house. It was down on, you know where the Chick-fil-A is? It's a little past there, the gas station on the left. And it was a super old house. So I had allergies my whole life. So they never cleared out the dust. And I always wonder why my nose was stuffed the whole time. And now we got out of that house, like when I was in 7th or 8th grade. And then we went to my Concord one and I was like, well, I can breathe normally. This is crazy.
Yeah.
So, that was definitely a good time in Walnut Creek. And then my parents eventually bought the house in Concord and that's where I am now. So,
okay, cool. You went to, where'd you go to, like grade school and middle school and stuff like that?
This is going to be a good story. So, have you heard of Palmer School?
Yes, I have. I have a friend of mine that used to coach girls softball there long time ago.
Wow. Yeah, that is a long time ago. Yeah. I don't remember them having a sports team when I went there. So it got shut down in 8th when I graduated. Actually, I was the last graduating class.
Wow.
So it was very eventful last 2 years. So up through 7th grade, we had the same, I guess you call him a dean, because it was kind of like a Catholic, but not really Catholic school. Yeah. Some aspects, but we had the same dean, same principal up until 7th grade. And then right as we entered 8th grade, he left for some unknown reason. So that left a really big gap in, and I'll say this off the record, but a lot of the teachers did not have their teaching licenses. I talked to them afterwards and it's like, oh yeah, a lot of the teachers are kind of...
Well, it's a private school. And so it's just, they're not required to have teaching credentials to be in a private school. So I think it's the same thing to some degree with charter schools, but I think that's a little more stringent.
Yeah, at least the ones I talked to, they had their teaching degrees because I visited them recently. That was a fun talk. But they didn't have their teaching license or whatever. So they're left a gap in like, how are we going to discipline students, because they had a whole method like, oh, we're going to send you to lunch duty where you pick up trash instead of going to recess. I'm like, okay, no kid like that, but I understand. Yeah. I understand why they did it. Oh, if you did this, you walk to the flagpole and back, reflect on what you did. It's like, okay, whatever. But then the dean left and now they have to come up with a new strategy and they're like, they didn't really know what to do. And I kind of noticed this even as a kid. And now I'm looking back and it's like, yeah, they really did not know what to do. And so students were going all over the place. It was like 6th, 7th, and 8th grade were kind of like all the kids were just messing around. It was kind of crazy.
So it was really that piece of leadership, because he supplied a lot more leadership than people realized.
Yeah. It was him and his brother. So I think their last names were Mendez, something like that. It was Mr. Lance and Mr. Sam. Mr. Sam was he was like the Santa Claus kind of. He's like the nice guy. He was the principal, but like if you got on his bad side, he's like, oh, like I don't want to get on this guy's bad side. And then Mr. Lance was like the disciplined guy, like, oh shoot, Mr. Lance is coming.
Okay.
And so Mr. Lance was the one that left. And then there was a gap and they didn't know what to do. And eventually we got into COVID and we were going to go on a field trip. right before COVID hit, and I was like, they promised us this grand field trip, and then it never happened.
Yeah.
So we never went on any field trips. We went online. And unlike some schools that already were kind of asynchronous, well, not really many, but they were planned and they kind of had a method of going how they're going to do COVID. Our school had no plan. So it was just, I remember, and I'll say this, going onto what we use Jupiter Ed. And it was like a learning platform, kind of like Canvas or Canvas, yeah. And we just cheated on, like, we called each other, we cheated on tests. It was like, come on, it was 8th grade. It was like, no one cared.
Yeah.
And then we got to the end and they wanted to at least do a little graduation. So they had us come to the school one by one. It was still COVID because I think it was in May, I believe. Yeah, it was in May we graduated.
Right.
And one by one, we went through, we had our masks on, and it was cool because they had all these like pictures. They did like a special graduation for us because we didn't have a normal one.
Yeah.
And we went by 1 through 1, and all the teachers were there from like different grades because it was K through 8th grade. And I was there from, I guess, kindergarten through 8th grade.
Oh, wow.
So the whole time, yeah. It was a lot of money, I know, private school. But I was there. I'm sure my parents were relieved because I went private school, middle, elementary, and then high school. And now finally DVC is like free. So we went through, it was really cool. It got to the end. We took pictures with Mr. Sam because Mr. Lance, I don't know what happened to him. No one knows what happened. He just got like sick, is what they said. And I saw him one time when I was having like a parent teacher conference in 8th grade, and he was cleaning up the school. And I was like, why are you here at like 7 p.m. like cleaning up the school? It's so weird. That was a really weird school.
Okay.
And so eventually we left, and then 5 hours later, we got notice that they were shutting down. They were just like, oh, we're shutting down. And I talked to the teachers too after this, and they were like, not after 8th grade, obviously, but now. Yeah. I was like, yeah, we didn't get notice either. Like they knew as soon as we knew that the school was shutting down. I was like, it's such a crazy turn. I think they were planning to maybe before COVID, and COVID kind of gave them the, okay, we're done.
Well, I think they had been struggling financially for a little while. I'm now racking my brain going backwards, because I remember reading about this a bit. Like I said, I had a friend of mine that coached there. But this is probably way before
Yeah.
But they had been struggling a little while, and I think COVID just put the nail in the coffin because a lot of the government schools were at least positioned in such a way to where they scrambled, but they figured out what to do, and there weren't great solutions, but there at least was a solution.
Yeah, they didn't have anything. The disciplinary action was gone. They didn't know way to enforce Zoom meetings. Is like really nothing they could do, and I think, like you said, the funding was just not there because I know the tuition was high, but like even the little things I would notice, they added this is really small. They added a recycling bin in like my 7th grade year. Not a big thing, but like I was like, why do they not have like a recycling bin? I feel like most places have like recycling bins. Like the water fountain was really old. Not that they didn't replace it, but it was like this stuff is like old.
Oh, I know. It was an old retired school, and it was retired partly for demographic reasons, but also because it was a really old piece of property.
Oh, that sold for a lot too.
Yes. Well, it's prime real estate, and they put houses on it. So.
Of course, yeah. My girlfriend she lived in a condo that was kind of near that area, and I was like, I never realized I was that close to her the whole time. It was like a weird coincidence.
But you didn't know her at that point.
No idea.
See, we'll see there. It worked out.
Yeah. And so I was driving by, and I noticed they demolished that whole area, obviously. I have a cool story about that, too.
Yeah.
They demolished that whole area, and they started building these giant condos. And I'm like, dang, these things are like, there's a lot of land there that I did not realize. Like, I only walked throughout the school campus, which I thought was big when I was back then because it was small. And now looking back, it's kind of small. But like, they had this little sectored off area that was fenced in. I didn't realize it was that big, but they had a huge area there that they ended up putting a bunch of houses. I'm like, yeah, it was prime real estate. So I've heard a lot of different discussion on how much that property was, but
yeah, well, and I don't know if Palmer owned the whole thing or not, or
I don't think so. I think there was a house there that they didn't own. I don't know the whole situation, but it was definitely a prime real estate.
Well, yeah.
Right.
Well, it's in Walnut Creek, and it's like even post COVID, it's like still, and especially with high density housing, because that's really, everybody wants the American dream, which is the backyard and the picket fence and all that good stuff. Although I would never buy a house with a picket fence because those things are a pain to paint.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, it's like everybody wants that. But the thing is that's not a solution for the housing crisis that we currently have. So, so you said you had a cool story about it. So tell.
This is delinquent story. So don't take this. All right. This was delinquent high school me. This was in sophomore year.
Well, keep in mind, this is going to go out there in the world. So
I'll keep in mind. No.
Okay.
Yeah, people know.
Okay.
So it was sophomore year. The place had been not demolished yet, but they shut it down.
Yeah.
And they were in the talks to demolish it because you could see there was caution tape, and they were kind of protecting it. Like, they need the permit to demolish it, and then they were going to go through with building condos. So I was with my friend sophomore year, and we were like, you know what? We never got a proper graduation. Let's go back there. So we went back there. I went back 2 times. I know a lot of people went back multiple times to like take stuff, like cool little memories. But a few of my friends, the first time we went back at night, and it was because we're like, I want to like check it out. And so we ended up going in and like we had flashlights, and it was super cool because it was this place we hadn't been through in like 2 years. All the stuff was like overgrown. The grass was like all dead. The pool was totally empty. It was so weird seeing that place. And we went into the main office where so for me, for reference, normally the school day was like 8:30 or so to like 2:30 or 3. My parents always worked late, so I stayed there till like 5 or 6. I was there for like the whole day.
Yeah.
And so after school, they would take you basically to this little courtyard area. And then when it got down to enough kids, they took you to the library/office. And then when it got enough kids, they took you to the front room where there's like only 5 kids left. And there's like, it was so weird. Like they had like a little campfire and like some chairs sitting right. You just sat there till your parents picked you up. But we went in and checked out that whole area. And I was like, this is really cool. Just seeing all this stuff like broken down.
It's kind of nostalgic, right?
It was nostalgic. Yeah. It was kind of surreal. And so that was the first time I went back. And then the second time I went with just one friend because we really wanted to get into a computer room. Because we had been there was a computer room that we used to have a class in. And it was like, that was the only room we hadn't seen because it was locked up. And so we went back and we eventually got the door open. We checked it out. Super cool. And I found like some floppy disks that were just scattered everywhere. I'm like, floppy disks? Like,
were they the 3 1/4, or they were the 5 3.5 or the 5 1/4? Because the 5 1/4s are like this. So
they were small. They were like this big. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're like these plastic, like not literally floppy, but like.
No, I know. That's
like, It was pretty cool. I took one for memories and that was it. And
you don't even have a machine that can read it.
No, I just took one for memory.
I could probably find somebody that has one.
I don't even know if I still have it. It's somewhere probably in my house, but I took one. And then the last thing I saw was I looked in a book. So they had like, you could borrow books as a kid.
Yeah.
And you can bring them home. You wrote your name down in the book. I looked in the book thing. One of the last books that was borrowed was from one of my friends.
Oh my gosh.
In the book thing, it was like his last name was there. And I was like, dang, that's the last thing I saw. And so we put it back and I left. And 6 months later, maybe, the friend that I went there with, he moved to Pennsylvania. And so we just stood outside, we left, and then they demolished the whole thing. Yeah. So that was the end of that.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So you ended up going to De La Salle.
I did, yeah.
So so you have been private schooled until you got here at DVC.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. Well, De La Salle's at least bigger. But Palmer was not very big.
No, it was very small. There was like maybe 40 kids per grade, maybe 45 to 50. So like, total of 8 times 50s, 40, 400, 450. Really small.
Yeah. Excuse me. So you get to De La Salle, you go from this little pond, kind of more of a puddle, and you end up at De La Salle, which is a much bigger environment. You got people from all over the area coming in. What was that transition like?
I'll tell you, the whole time I basically stayed friends with the people I knew from Palmer.
Oh, really?
Most of them went to De La Salle. A few of them went to other schools like Los Lomas, so the Walnut Creek area. Some went to Pittsburgh, Ignacio Valley, but that was very few. Most of them went to De La Salle because I think Palmer was a direct feeder.
Yeah.
So most of them went there, and I stayed friends with most of them. now, we all split up. The one person I've stayed very close with, he didn't even go to De La Salle. I went to Los Lomas. He's in San Francisco now. So
Okay.
we still stay pretty close, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I also went to high school long time ago. And I think I've only kept track of a couple of my friends from high school, but life goes on.
yeah.
So you get here to DVC, you decided not to take any time off. You just jumped right in.
Yeah.
What was the first couple of classes that you liked?
I mean,
because I know that you and Jim ended up in a class and you beat him.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yes. So you hear that, Jim? You're being called out. So.
Exactly. Yeah. Let's do another class.
So, excuse me. So you get here. What was the first classes that you were taking here at DVC?
So I graduated May 2024, and then I kind of was like, in high school, I was like, okay, I wanted to renew myself. I didn't really get that chance because I was kind of cautious. I was like, okay, this is do or die. Like, I want to remake myself. This is it. I'm either going to change or I'm going to stay the same, and that's it. And I could go way deeper, but I ended up going right into summer, maybe took a month off, and I did a humanities course. So it was like intro to humanities and English. I was like, let's get the general ed out of the way.
Okay.
I should have done the opposite, to be honest. I should have done, primary first, and let's take that as a lesson for college students. But do the primaries first to go to DVC and then general ed. It's way easier. But I did the general ed first. I did intro to English, so like the first level English, and then I did a humanities. And so, they were cool, but nothing special. And then, yeah.
So you made a comment, and I think it's very interesting, is you decided you wanted to reinvent yourself, which I've done a million times, because it's like I get a different job, different career.
Yeah.
Life changes, whatever it is. But what was kind of the whole thing that drove that for you?
Yeah, it was. So throughout high school, I was like pretty chill in my own mind. So this was like, I was kind of content with being who I was and just staying there and not branching out. So for example, in high school, I did a bunch of classes, didn't really challenge myself with any classes. I didn't have a hard time with many classes, not to like toot my own horn, but none of the classes I did were like extremely difficult. And I also didn't really try. So like I ended up getting, B's and A's. But I could have, if I applied myself and actually studied for tests, I could have got all A's. But I didn't do that. And I was like fine with doing that. And so when I graduated with average grade and like, I was going to go to either St. Mary's, which is, again, that's a private school, De La Salle to St. Mary's. It's like just a bigger De La Salle. So that was the plan. I was like, yeah, St. Mary's, San Jose State, maybe some of these state schools, Cal State East Bay, Hayward. Yeah, back then it was called Hayward. I say back then, I'm like 19. That's what my mom called it. Just went there. And I was like, I kind of just had a moment to reflect, and I was like, is this really how I want to be for just the rest of my life? Is just like, content with not challenging myself, content with, just doing the normal and kind of doing my classes. No, I didn't do any extracurriculars either. I did wrestling. This is my biggest regret, by the way. I did wrestling my first semester, freshman year. This was during COVID. So we had masks while wrestling, which made no sense, by the way. And we were getting like waterboarded because it was like, we're all sweating. Yeah. I wish I would have stuck with it. I did it my first semester, and then I called it quits after that. Biggest regret. I wish I would have stuck with that.
Well, it's almost like you on reflection, do I want to be trying to cruise Chris, or do I want to be, I get it. Yeah. It's like, I mean, I've been that guy, and I still sometimes can be that guy where it's just like, put in enough.
Yeah. I was fine. Well, that was the thing. It was such a weird kind of mind thing to get past, because I felt like I was fine doing that, but there was always something deeper where I was like kind of either insecure, or I was like, I want to do more, but I don't know how. And so that's what brought me to DVC. I was like, I'm going to take a chance for once in my life. Let's take a chance, instead of just doing whatever classes and not going up a level or whatever. Let's take a chance and not go to the safe route, St. Mary's, I think, which would have been where I would have wanted to go. I was like, let's go to DVC. I'm going to take this chance where I know absolutely nobody besides my girlfriend, who doesn't really even go to the same classes as me. She's in nursing. So I was like, let's go here. I know absolutely no one. I'm going to meet people. I'm going to meet professors. I'm going to try and get to know people. I'm going to apply myself. And that's exactly what I did. And it got me to at least where I believe now is a pretty good spot regarding academics and whatnot.
Well, and actually, I'm going to brag on you quite a bit. We're getting into that part. So.
Okay. No,
So, which is the reason I dragged you in here. So,
Okay.
yes, in all transparency, I just told Chris that it's like he had to do this, and he was like, "Wait, what? Me?" But no, it's like I'm actually even more interested now because you for whatever reason you had that moment where you're like, can I be better? And there wasn't like an external thing that happened, or you just decided it's like you just wanted to take a roll of the dice, or
I'd say it was probably like 90% internal, because there was nothing external that was really affecting me. I was looking at my friends and seeing like, okay, these people are going to, and by the way, most of them went to University of Oregon or University of Arizona, Arizona State, all party schools. I was like, I don't like partying, and I also don't like not doing anything, but I also like am bored. I don't know. It was such a weird thing. I was like, I want to find something to do. And so it was all like internal. I was like, what am I going to do about it? Am I just going to stay the same as high school?
Yeah.
And, make new people. I'm not going to make the same friends. I knew these people since kindergarten and first grade. I'm not going to make new friends through DVC. And I was like, it's not the same. It doesn't need to be like that. It can be totally different. And that's a good thing. And I was like, I'm going to take that chance. And exactly what it is.
Well, no, and the reason I keep kind of circling back to that is you had that existential moment, but there wasn't like an outside driving thing, like, your dog died, or something happened, or, it's which I think is very interesting. It shows great self-reflection,
Yeah. Well, I think most college, I would say a lot of high school students maybe feel the same way as I do, but they don't know how to say it.
So you said it out loud.
Yeah.
To yourself, at least.
Yeah. I'm trying to, at least.
No, you did. Because folks, we'll get to the part that I'm all excited about. So, but I mean, it's I know. So you ended up, you getting into classes, you get to know Professor Worsham, shout out to Miriam, and I'll send this to her and tag her in it just because she'll be all, oh my gosh. She is by far one of my favorites. So
mine too.
But, so we ended up finding out about you from her because we were looking for an additional office person here.
Yep.
And up to that point, what were like some of your activities and classes? Talk about DVC up to that point.
That was my first semester here. Well, I guess second semester, if we're not counting summer. Summer isn't kind of real, but it was my first fall semester. And I was taking Intro to Business, my second level English, because I did the first one. I was taking a few other general eds, I think maybe macroeconomics, and then one other thing. And I was trying to find classes where I could apply myself and learn professors. And I already had it set in my mind that I was going to get all A's. I was like, there is no other option. I want to get all A's. And so that was just a set thing in my mind. So what it came down to was just getting to know professors. And so I noticed in my Intro to Business, all these people are here, like they're business majors, right? No shade to business majors. I'm a business major, but like a lot of people go into business and they don't know, what they want to do with it. And it's like, it's not about exactly the direct career path. It's never clear. Like you said, you've changed multiple times. It's never clear. So I just want to get to know as many people as I can, keep my options open and find different things that I like to do and just hone in on one and do that. And that became finance for me eventually. But I met Miriam, or Professor Worsham, I'll say.
Well, we'll call her Miriam because you know her well.
Yeah.
So
I met Miriam, and not to toot my own horn again, but
please.
There's not many students that kind of went up to her and are kind of discussing with her, and not to shade other students, but there was no one really applying themselves and getting to know the professor. And like, she's talking about her career and how she's done marketing for a bunch of different big firms. And it's like, this is a cool person to know. I want to learn more about them. And so I was really the only person that stayed after classes and, talked before classes and applied myself. Like, it was no shade, but it was not a hard class, Intro to Business. And so I was really the only person that like gave actual thought. We had a whole series of workshops where we present on like a company that we like. And I chose a company and I was like, no one else is really putting the time into like.
So what company did you choose?
This is going to be bad for people who know this, but I chose a company called Palantir.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yes. I'm very familiar with them. Yes. So
I chose a company called Palantir.
Please don't unfollow us. But it was an exercise. And but
this was before I knew a lot of the stuff. Yeah. So this was when they were at like $40 to $50 per share.
Mm-hmm.
They're like 180, 170 now. And I was like, I'm going to invest in this company because I like the fundamentals. I like how it's looking. This is long before I knew a lot of stuff, but that was my conviction on it. And I was like presenting on that. And no one else was really presenting on stuff they cared about. Like people chose McDonald's as a company.
Good. They were
Not
choosing
bad.
easy.
Yeah, it's not bad, but like no one knew what Palantir was. I'm like, oh, it's software. It's like, what? I mean, even then, no one really knew what they did, but people chose like Coca-Cola, McDonald's, stuff like that, Chevron. And I don't know, I just felt a little bit like out of place. And I was like, no one's really like applying themselves here. And again, I don't want to throw shade, but it's like, it's not hard to just apply yourself and stand out. And so I tried to do that with Miriam, and she referred me to you guys. And that's kind of how that whole thing went. So that's the chance that I took, and I was like, yeah, worked out.
Well, and we'll talk some more about it. And I know that you've been an amazing asset to this office. Absolutely amazing. You can use this in your college applications, by the way. But no, you have been, because it's like you've taken over the website. And you've done a lot of stuff with that. You know, and us old guys here, you know, it's just like we're kind of a little web challenged. And but there's also other things, like a lot of the insights that you brought to some of our contract stuff and our accounting and things like that, which is, you know, I mean, I don't work in that department. I've got my own little world over there, but it's refreshing to bring somebody in, regardless of age or experience, that actually seems to have that eye to detail. And you have the nerve to actually ask the question, hey, why is this? This seems stupid to me. And then you see that part out loud, which is great, because then it's like sometimes like, oh, because that's one of the things I hear all the time. I mean, the meeting we had last night, you were like going, well, hey, what about this and this and this? Yeah. So, so that's actually very refreshing. And I don't even see adults my age doing stuff like that.
Yeah, I will say, I think it's a little bit of a personality thing, though, that not a lot of people have. And not, again, I always want to say not to throw shade, but like, well, no,
it takes all sorts. And the fact is, it's like not everybody, I don't want to call it nerve, because you seem to just have this, it's not even courage. It's just, you have to say it out loud.
Yeah, that's a little, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, it's just like, well, wait a minute, you know? And it's like, it doesn't look like you're like kind of working up the courage. It's just like, well, what about this?
Yeah, well, no, I definitely feel nervous sometimes when I ask questions, though. I think everyone feels that, but I'm like, you know what? Have you read this book? Can I swear on here?
Yes.
Okay. I think it's called the
Subtle Art of Not Giving an F.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's by Mark Manson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
by the way, that is one of my favorite books.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll
link it to the bottom of the podcast. So
I'm about to finish it up, but it's all stuff that I feel.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like it's groundbreaking stuff that I'm reading and it's like, oh, I'm going to change my perspective on life. But it's like stuff that I knew. I just didn't really know how to verbalize it. Mm-hmm. This is all the ways I feel. And I think a lot of the times too, I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, and I always have been. I get hyper fixated on very certain things, and I work on them for a very long amount of time.
Which, by the way, that makes me very jealous, because I am so not.
But well, it can be good, but it can also be really bad, because I can't really control what things I get hyper fixated on. One time, it was just it was rock climbing, and I rock climbed for like 3 weeks straight, just every day, and I got bored of it. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not doing this anymore. And it's not like school, where it's like there's an ever, I guess, like a perpetual goal of getting there and getting there and getting there. Like that's kind of separate from the perfectionist point. But when it comes down to like personal projects, like I have my own personal website that I just worked on for like hours.
Yeah, we were going to get to that. Okay. So no. Go ahead. Go to talk about that. So, so this was the thing. So usually this is like somehow you gave me the link or something like that. Yeah. And I looked at it, I went, all right, this is when I decided you definitely have to be on here. Is most people, they have a website, personal website, and it's all about this personal branding, and it's all this other kind of, light and airy stuff. And it's not, instead you have so tell me about your particular website, because I think it's absolutely brilliant.
Well, I guess the best way to describe it is just a portfolio. Yeah. So of stuff I've done. I'm, again, like I said, I'm interested in finance and investing. So I'm just putting little projects on there. But this is to my point about being like a hyper fixator. I focused on that for like 2 weeks straight, doing that nonstop hours a day. And I got a little bored of it. So now I'm kind of letting it sit, and I need to get back to it. And it's the same thing with applications. When I was in November and I was applying to, Berkeley and UCLA, all the UCs, and doing the PIQs, hyper fixated for like 2 weeks straight, going in the career office, waiting there hours every day. It passed. And, I'm glad that it lasted all the way to the end because I relied on that. And then it passed. I'm like, oh, I'm done. But now I have to do supplemental stuff.
Yeah.
So I got to get back into it. And, it's definitely something that I need to work on. It's like a controlling aspect where I get very hyper fixated and then I lose it immediately. And it's like, I'm done with that. Right now, I guess you could say it's the gym. Like I'm hyper fixated. I have way more free time. So I'm hyper fixated on going to the gym like every day. I'm sure that's going to change when the semester starts from time reasons. And then I might not get into it. And so that's something I got to work on is definitely like.
Yeah, but you're also how old?
19.
Yeah. So
we'll be 20 soon though.
Okay.
January 12th. So
yes.
Happy birthday.
Well, yeah, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. So your birthday is coming up. It's the day before my brother's birthday.
Well, happy birthday to him as well.
Well, he'll be 68. So
I'll be 20. So.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, he's a little bit older than you. And my birthday's coming up on 23rd. And my daughter's birthday is tomorrow and she's all of 41.
Jeez.
So yeah, I have old kids.
All in January and February?
All but my youngest daughter.
Huh.
Yeah. No, I have January and December. So
I've never met really many January birthdays.
Oh, so sidetrack on something that's interesting is like if you get a room of 50 people and you go, how many people are going to have the same birthday? And everyone thinks there's like this even distribution. And the fact is you'll bump into at least a few people that all have the same birthday in that room.
Yeah. I'm sure the most common is like August or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe some summer month or just like 8 months after Valentine's. 8 or 9 months after Valentine's. So.
So a couple of things. So like your portfolio that you talk about on your website. One of the things I find very interesting is I've never met a 19-year-old going on 20, because you're almost 20. We'll just say 20-year-old, who's been so well versed in finance and the stock market.
Yeah. I mean, look, you got to meet more people than I.
Apparently I do. I mean, that's like, I know a lot of people my age that are not that well versed.
I have a genuine interest in it. It's one of the things that it's one of the things that I'm hyper fixated on, but it's been like that for a long period of time where I constantly want to learn more about it. So, I have different news outlets. I have my own spreadsheets and I have my own way of tracking stuff and tracking performance and stuff like that. And it's just been something I really got attached to. Like some people like art, I got attached to investing. And so wherever that takes me, whether it be consulting, I just read a career book my professor gave me, whether it's consulting, whether it's industry, whether it's corporate, whatever, I really just care about investing and finance. And yeah, it's just wherever it takes me. I'm interested in the subject. So,
well, I really like the fact that you're open to the idea of wherever it goes.
Yeah.
But you stay with the things that you're hyper focused on, because I think my opinion is that too often people, unless they're going to be an engineer or a doctor, like an actual surgeon or something like that, not a doctor of whatever. But unless that, it's like, their education is going to take them a number of different places. And most people switch, majors 2, 3, 4, 5 times.
Yeah.
Depending on what, so I mean, a good example is Michael Kaysen, who he did theater here, drama. He went off to New York to go be in the theater, and he found out actors don't make any money. And so he came back and he's now an attorney and he owns his own law firm. Yeah. So again, it's like one of those things, like wherever life takes you, it takes you. But so yeah, I noticed that you have on your portfolio, you have a number of trackers that you use.
Yeah. They're all like little projects that I've done and I've read books on, and I just kind of was like, oh, this would be fun to make. And so I ended up just creating them with, AI code and whatever.
Yeah.
And so those are posted on the website. I actually have to change what an API is?
Yes.
Yeah. I got to change the API because my $50 one expired. I'm like, I don't want to pay $50 a month to get this data for many people who aren't going to look at it. So I'm like, I might as well just get a free one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just little personal projects that I think everyone should honestly do, especially with the technology that we have now and AI in general. It's so easy to go in and just code something that you don't even need to know how to code. And that could be good and bad, but like, it's easy to, as I call it, vibe coding. That's what it's called.
Is that really?
Yeah,
okay.
It's called vibe coding. So when you code with AI. So
okay. Well, I'm gonna have to check that out some.
Yeah, it's super easy. I use a tool called Cursor. It has its own kind of interface. You just go in, prompt it. Well, I don't prompt actually. I use AI to prompt the AI. That's meta AI prompting.
Okay.
But yeah.
Well, yeah, and but the thing I think is interesting is that you take and you're so quick to embrace these things and then just leverage them and not freak out about them or anything like that. I mean, I know there's still some people that think AI is going to murder us all, and at some point it may. Who knows?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it'll just turn off the grid and we'll all die from that.
Yeah, starving.
Well, yeah, because I don't know where you go to hunt for tacos. One of the other things, though, that was interesting, and let's talk about this a little bit, is you decided you didn't really want to be part of any of the clubs, which I guess you're kind of a little bit of a kind of classed, I guess that would be the correct term, stand off at this corner. But you wanted to start your own club, and it was different than the other clubs, any of the other clubs that are currently going. And I know what it started off as the idea being, and it never quite got to that, but it was at least. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So the idea was back then, I guess this was
a whole year ago.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, a whole year ago now. I wanted to make a club that was about investing only. Mm-hmm. So we already had a wealth management club. I'll get into it. We had a wealth management club on campus, and they had different leaders come in, different people from the industry, venture capitalists, private equity, whatever. These people came in and talked, but there were no real, I guess, say workshops, no hands-on experience.
Right.
And I'm all about the hands-on experience. I think the only way to learn, honestly, is by just doing it, which I'm sure a lot of people have that opinion.
Oh, I definitely do.
Yeah.
It's like you don't learn how to work on stuff unless you get your hands dirty.
Yeah. So I learned, I took financial accounting and I learned about all the metrics and how they got there, but I wanted to use it. Mm-hmm. And the only way to use it is to literally go in and research a company and then invest based off that opinion. That's what I did. And I was like, I want to bring this kind of experience that I just had to other students that might be feeling this way. And so I went in and I went to the Wealth Management Club and I applied to be vice president. And I was like, you know what? It was, by the way, this is the most formal interview I had. It was at a school club.
But much more formal than this.
More formal than this. More formal than fast food.
By the way, I do know that when you interviewed with Tom, because he's kind of our clearinghouse for all things, even though theoretically I'm HR, which, by the way, that's a joke. But anyways, I know that his whole thing, he was like, his thing is, well, Miriam recommended him, and he's from De La Salle. So,
it's already there.
Yeah.
That's the luck about being in De La Salle, though, from De La Salle. So that's that Catholic connection.
Well, there's actually, it's interesting. I made a comment about Harvard MBAs, and I've met some that are really smart and some that, are not so much. And somebody pointed out to me that it's like with schools like that and Stanford and Haas and all these other schools, they may or may not be super smart, but they have this network. In De La Salle, at least for now, until you get to your next level, is that network. It's like, all these people. Oh, you're from De La Salle? Oh my gosh.
Same thing with Santa Clara, which is my second pick. Santa Clara also has that kind of LaSallian connections. Very useful. I think I met with someone who is a vice president of Heritage Bank. So that's what we bank with. Tim. Yeah. I think he knows people that go to Santa Clara.
Tim knows everybody.
Yeah. That's that. Yeah. Well, there you go.
Tim knows it. He's a great guy, and he knoes everybody.
Yeah.
So it just,
Okay, I guess I'll take that.
So that's definitely somebody to be on his radar. So what were we talking about before I so rudely interrupted you? Oh, the club. There we go. So you were talking about it. What you went into the finance club?
Yeah. So I went into as a vice president. I applied the semester before, and then came in during the spring. So that was the last semester. And I went in, and I was like, I want to do some things, and I noticed throughout it, it's like the officers of the club, it's like we care, but we don't really care. Like these people are doing it and there's nothing bad about it. They're doing it just for the look of it on a resume or on, college application or whatever. Nothing bad about it. I would do the same thing if I was a college student, but I have passion for it. And
I'm thinking about that because I've heard that a number of times, and I'm thinking that might be part of it for some, but I think for a lot of people, they come in, it's always been done this way, and they don't know how to change it. They don't have a reason to want to change it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it was, the guy who made the club, I met him before I became a vice president. He was super cool. I think he went to Berkeley for economics, and he was definitely passionate about it. Again, he was a day trader. No shade to day traders, but that's not my thing. I know about it. It's not my thing. I'm more long-term. But the guy that founded it was super passionate, and he met all these people. He cold called a bunch of people on LinkedIn. It's like, that's how he did it. And then he left. And now there's other people that came in that they want it on the resume. They don't really care about wealth management or going into any kind of field of finance. And so I'm like sitting here and I don't really, like, I would be the one to run it all, but I don't own the club. Like, there's a sense of pride in owning something and creating something. And I was like, you know what? I tried it for like 3 or 4 weeks. I'm done with this. I stayed vice president. Technically, I think the club got like disbanded. It doesn't really exist anymore because they didn't care about it. And I was the only one kind of going and tabling and doing stuff. And so it ended up being vanished into nothing. But during that time, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go make my own club, strictly investing, finance, whatever. I was expecting no one to come because I hadn't met anyone that was like that except one person in my accounting class. I guess 2 people. And so I went and created something called the Viking Fund Club. And so that's our mascot. I was like, I don't know what else to name it. So I'm just going to go the Viking Fund Club. And originally it was a project that was meant to be like real money, real capital investing. It was kind of ambitious. Didn't end up panning out that way. But I ended up meeting a lot of people that actually did come to the club. And I posted on Reddit, DVC subreddits and stuff like this. And random people that I would have never guessed I met. You know, I met this one girl named Ivana. And I met this guy named Francisco off of Reddit and Instagram because she wanted to make a real estate club. And I was like, you know what? I'd be interested in that. Will you come to this club? And she's like, yeah, sure. So she's an officer now. I go to the real estate club. Francisco's just a guy on Reddit, just scrolling, you know. No idea. He was definitely interested in finance because he came here.
Yeah.
He's I guess he's a freshman. Yeah, was his first semester, last semester. And he came here and he's like, you know what? I'm super interested. And I'm actually going to make him co-president because he's just super ambitious and he showed a lot of initiative. He helped make the club website. So we made a club website that we have now. And we have like book recommendations, all this cool stuff. And these are just some of the cool people I met. And, you know, my focus on each meeting was definitely workshops. Yeah. Because that was some things that the clubs lacked was like actually doing shit. And we just didn't. Did.
Well, and I like, you know, one of my favorite clubs is the Cheese Club, which you've heard over and over and over again.
Fun club, yeah.
Well, it is a fun club. But the thing is and to your point, where I think it's interesting is that, you know, the Cheese Club was created with the idea of like, you know, of being kind of a little bit of to be a maverick, but and they're very passionate and or at least they were. I haven't been to them this year, but it was very much we have our cheese, we have our procedure, we have our this, and it's like, so they're very disciplined about what it is that they're meeting about. Yeah,
and it's no shade to like any club that can just be about whatever. You could have a movie club as long as you just do stuff. But a lot of these clubs, they have the name and the title, but they don't really offer much. I think there's a separation between like a social club and like an actual caring club. I think my club is definitely more on the like discipline. Like I want to learn stuff outside of class. But like Cheese Club, I'd go to that, and I knew people that went to that. They had like 100 people in their first meeting of last semester. Awesome event. They just have a bunch of cheese and you just eat and talk. But definitely, I am more focused on the career side, and I think that's what a lot of people do.
Well, and yeah, but I think it's also, you know, I think what happens a lot of times, and it's tough when you're, you know, 18, 19 years old, to like okay, I want to do this. Okay, well, now you have to provide leadership and steer a path. And what does that path look like? And have, you know, you happen to be the rare exception where you go, this is what I want. You're very disciplined about getting down that road.
Try to be,
yeah. Well,
I'll try.
You're more so than I was at 19. So, but again, I think with a lot of folks, it's like, you know, they're still trying to figure out, you know, how they're going to get to school and all the other stuff. But anyway, so you did that. You've what else did you have going? I had like 3 other things in my head that.
I mean, I can talk more about the club for sure. We went on.
Talk about the club, because you've done some great stuff with the club.
Yeah. So we started out, you know, first meeting, introduced what it was. We were going to do a paper portfolio, and it ended up being like, not enough people have the time to do that. So I just focused the meetings on actual workshops and learning about investing. So if you want to go into this career, we did like something called a discounted cash flow analysis. We had a whole workshop about that. We had comparing ratios. So this is price to earnings, the stuff like that. We had field trips. So one of the big field trips we had at the end of the semester was going to University of San Francisco. And that was in partnership with another club that's great on campus, Women in Business.
So, Leila Foster. And
So she's super passionate. And I think we both share the same opinion about clubs not really doing shit. So we wanted to do shit. So we ended up going to USF on this field trip. And I wish I could show some pictures for the camera, but they had this huge, I would say huge, but it was this awesome like investment institute. And
well, we can, if you can send me the pictures, we'll podcast
for sure.
Yeah,
they had this investment institute, and you walk into it, and it's like a Wall Street trading floor.
Oh my God!
They have these tickers going around the top, and and by the way, people who don't know this, they have like 9 or 10 Bloomberg terminals. These things are like $60,000 a month. I'm sure or a year. I'm sure they get discounts because it's a university, but still, like these things are high tech. Like you can do a lot of stuff with them. We couldn't do much because like. Even in my grand knowledge, I don't know how to work this thing. I've never used it, but it was really cool to see just the amount of data you can pull and how much of an edge, I guess, you can get from knowing all this stuff. I always was curious what this company, you may not have heard of it, Alphabet, Google. I was curious I'm curious what their subsidiaries are, and I know from just like, oh, they own the Nest Egg, they own Waymo, they own all this other stuff, and I was like, I'm curious how many things they actually own. They had a whole page for this of all their subsidiaries. There's like 300 of them. It's like, holy crap. Like this is a lot of information. It's really cool. And it was an awesome field trip. We ended up coming back. I'm planning to go next semester. So this upcoming semester, we're planning to go back to do an actual workshop on because before we kind of just went in and just messed around, whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm planning to go in and he's going to coach us on let's pull some data into Excel, let's make a model, and let's make a thesis. Like that's what I want to do. That sounds super fun. And so that's what we're planning to do. We also had, I met Kevin Tucholsky through you. Yeah. So he's an alumni.
Yeah. Shout out to Kevin.
Yeah.
Oh, and Kevin was actually here, and we'll shout out to him and his mom.
Yeah.
And his mom, and his grandmother. Yeah. She went here to DVC before it was even DVC, when it was, I think Far East County, Contrast County, whatever it was. But yeah, it was like, there was the first or second year it was open before it was here in Pleasant Hill even. So yeah, it's just, that's third generation.
Yeah. I knew his sister who went to Condolet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. This was totally random because I knew his sister who went to Condolet, and she was in my environmental science class, I think, in like my so I guess that was senior year. And then we went our separate ways or whatever, went to college. And then I posted a flyer with him because he was coming to one of our meetings to talk. He zoomed in and I posted a flyer and she was like, wait, that's my brother. I'm like, what? Oh yeah, Tucholsky. The same last name. Like that's such a weird coincidence. But yeah, it's life connects in weird ways.
Yes. Well, no, and it's I think that's one of the things with you, because you went from from De La Salle, where it's just like you're cruising, to you do like basically a 180 to where it's like, okay, I'm changing everything, and now you've started a club that actually does stuff, and actually I might want to go on the field trip with you. That's how. I mean, I don't know anything about investing,
You don't need to, I guess, yeah.
But it sounds like it'd be really interesting, and that you're looking at serious schools rather than cruising through St. Mary's. That would be bad.
No, it's not bad, but definitely it was like St. Mary's was an option for me that I was like guaranteed. I'm like, okay, I'm not like gonna try and like, oh, I might get rejected. Like, I'm pretty sure I will get accepted to this school. It was like a safety school. Mm-hmm. Sometimes in high school and even in college, they say, have your target schools, have your reach schools, have your safe schools. All my schools were like safety schools. And I was like, there was nothing I was applying to that I'm pretty sure I got into everything. It was like, not that it's a tooting again, but it's like,
well, but the thing is who was it? Monica Hicks, who is currently at Stanford, DVC alum, who's at Stanford facing a master's in computer sciences. She's of the opinion, and I happen to agree with this, is that, if you're out there and you don't get rejected at least once or twice from something, you're just not reaching high enough.
Yeah.
If somebody doesn't tell you no, then you didn't reach far enough.
Same thing in the Mark Manson book. Is exactly what it says. So,
now I got to go back and read it, because it's been 15 years since I read that first time. But
when did it come out?
Oh, quite a while ago. And he's got a podcast. He's got which I love, and he's got a newsletter that comes out that I really like. Him and Jordan Harbinger is another one that I really like, because it's just stuff like that where it's just So what else? Let's see. Oh, so at this point, you've applied to all your schools.
Yeah.
You're looking here, you're helping us to stay on the straight and narrow here at the foundation. And actually, you're doing a really good job of that. We greatly appreciate that. So what does the next semester look like for you?
Next semester, I'll tell you the exact plan. Next semester, I'm doing 4 courses. So this is not required for business, but it was just an interest that I had, math. So I'm taking a class for intro to upper division math. So it's like theorems and proofs. My professor convinced me to take it. A lot of people are of the opinion that this
You
is not
lost your mind.
Yeah. Why are you taking another math? What? Are you crazy? It sounds fun. He made it sound fun. And I enjoyed calculus too. I enjoyed studying for those tests. It was a lot of fun. And the reward paid off for sure. It was really rewarding. So I ended up wanting to do that because the rest of my classes are all general ed. I would have taken like 12 units and I'm like, that's not enough for me. I was going to take like 2 sciences and then I think one more like ethnic studies, which is required for DVC. I was like, let's add math in there because I have nothing else to do. So I have that loaded for academic and I think that's going to be good for me. Plan here is to work here until I eventually depart off to whatever college I go to.
Well, and if you end up at Berkeley, you're going to have to work here anyways.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep you.
Yeah, I guess I'm staying regardless.
Well, yeah. No, you and John Paulo have been absolutely wonderful. So like we really appreciated all the help that you brought in.
For sure.
So it sounds like
it's my opportunity too, not a lot of students get this chance. And I think that gives me, I don't want to, beat it again, but that gives me definitely an edge in some of the stuff I talk about in my applications. It's like, not really many other students work at a nonprofit that's,
Well, and especially a college nonprofit.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is I think, and I was thinking about this, it's like, like you weren't super involved in De La Salle as far as the community and stuff like that.
Nope.
But here you've gotten very, to a point where people do know who you are.
Yeah.
And part of it is because of you working here in the foundation office. I mean, as many, if not more people poke their head in looking for you as opposed to me or Tom. So, and nobody's looking for Jim, No, I'm throwing shade on Jim now, but that's my job. But no, they do. But it's like they come in looking for you or John Paulo because the thing is of all the stuff that you've done for us as far as, hey, can you track this down? And some of it is small, like today with the flyer. And sometimes it's stuff like, oh, we can't figure out. And that means a lot,
Yeah, I have met so many tenfold times the amount of people I have here than I did at De La Salle. Also because it's college and high school, totally different environments. But I never really tried to meet new people in high school.
Yeah.
It was just like, I'm chill with my friends now. They met new people. I kind of knew them by proxy. And so it's like, that's whatever. I don't care. But here I knew no one. I was like, I want to get to know some new people. Like I haven't met new people in a long time. And so I met you. The first time I saw you was at an alumni event you presented at Miriam's.
Oh, that's right.
Classes,
Yeah.
I met you. And so I met Tom just by meeting him. I met Miriam. I met a bunch of students in that intro to business class. I met a bunch of the club presidents, which was awesome. I've met professors, my accounting professor was my advisor, my math professor, I would call him a good friend. Weirdly enough, we all enjoy rock climbing. I don't know. It's a very odd but
I hate rock climbing. It's too hard. I'll go get on my bicycle. Well, no, and again, Chris, I appreciate you sitting down, even though I kind of arm wrestled you into it. You didn't resist too much.
No.
So I appreciate it, and I think you've done great work. And I look forward to the next semester and best in all that you do. And I'm sure that if you need letters of recommendation, there's a whole host of people here at DVC that are going to write them for you.
Yeah.
So
I hope so.
Oh, I think so. All right, thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
You bet.
That's a wrap.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in to DVC Alumni, where every story inspires the next, the podcast for the DVC Alumni Association. You can contact us at alumni@dvc.edu with any comments, and be sure to leave a like and subscribe to our podcast.